it's Belinda Weaver here. I'm a copywriter and this is my page, Copyright Matters. I was going to talk to you about jargon today, but my brain is feeling very slushy and it made me think that there was probably a different topic. You can tell by how slowly I'm talking. Today I'd like to talk to you about burnout because that's how I feel right now. I don't know about you, but I am really looking forward to Christmas holidays and it's only September. It's been a very busy year and maybe your business is going through the same thing. You're saying yes to more things. You're getting more copywriting leads. You're taking on more work and it's kind of thrilling, but there is a price to pay. So rather than talking about the thing I was going to talk about, I would like to share some ideas I have about preventing burnout, and there are lots of blogs about this, but I'd also like to talk about how to write through burnout, because when your brain is feeling slushy but you got deadlines to meet, you have to write through it. When there are days when you just don't feel like doing anything, you have to write through it. That's what being a professional copywriter is all about. It's about turning up and doing the work when it needs to be done. But how do you do that? So first, let's talk about preventing burnout, because burnout happens basically when you create a treadmill of work for yourself. You have to write, you're doing lead generation, you're doing marketing. For me, I've just finished launching my copywriting masterclass, which is super fun, and I'm very excited that all these new copywriters are coming in. But it's a tiring process, and it's at that time of year when it's at the end of the year. I got kids starting kindergarten. We've got new routines. There's a lot happening, of course. And what do? I say yes to a quick turnaround copywriting project for one of my favorite people. That meant the weekend was gone. So now I'm starting a new week feeling tired. I feel like my brain is empty. How could I have prevented this? Well, one of the ways you can prevent feelings of burnout is understanding intimately when you work best and using things like time blocking to schedule work into those hours. What is time blocking? Time blocking is, for example, using your calendar to block out the work that you need to do. So say you're going to spend 20 minutes recording a thing. That's in my calendar right now. Then I have to do some account keeping. So that's blocked out in my calendar. I have planned the day taking advantage of the time that I have available and when I work best. When you're not trying to do creative writing like your copywriting at times of the day when your brain is already toast, you will find it a lot easier to do that. So that is one way you can prevent burnout. Another way is that you can factor more time into your project schedule. The quickest way for me, I've always reached burnout, is when I've tried to do too much, too many projects back to back to back to back with no rest in the middle. Whenever I've done that, I hit the weekend and I'm a gibbering mess. And that's just not productive. So accepting fast turnaround projects, do what I say, not do what I do. Accepting projects back to back to back, not leaving yourself enough time for creative processing of your ideas, all that will lead to that feeling of being on a treadmill that you can never get off. And when you create that for yourself, you will burn out. And it's just not a nice feeling. The idea of us all becoming freelance copywriters is that we get to live the life we want, right? We get a rewarding and fulfilling career. We get control over our own destiny, and we get to choose when we do work and when we get to have our life. And hopefully we get to have more life than working for a corporate man. But you know what? When you work for yourself, you work harder than you ever have before. I don't know about you, but that's my story. So you have to take more control over your project workload to make sure that firstly you have enough time to have those hours where you're like, oh, I just can't write anything, I need to take a Netflix break. But you also have enough time to mull over ideas and mull over your copy appropriately. Because when I write copy, what happens is I get a first draft down. It's a horrible first draft. I walk away from it and my brain keeps writing. And I come back to it the next day or maybe in 2 days' time, and I start editing and I start shaping the lump of my copy. And that's when it gets better. But you've got to have time in your project schedule to do that with your copywriting. So you've got to understand when your creative hours are, and you've got to allocate your workload according to when you write best and when you do admin best and when you need to take a break. You need to give yourself enough time between projects and in projects to have time to think creatively and have some downtime as well. It's really important. You are more creative and you will write better when you've had time to also relax and have that little thing we call a life. Speaking of which, you also need to make time to step away from your desk. These are not new tips to prevent creative burnout, but they're really important. And sometimes we need to remind ourselves that we need some freaking downtime. That's where I am right now, actually. I am forcing myself to have more downtime. I bought some books on the weekend. I'm buying books on my Kindle. I'm actually booking appointments for some self-care. Got myself a pedicure. Now, these aren't unusual things, but I am trying to push myself to self-care more because I feel like I need it. And you shouldn't get to the point where you're burned out in order to look after yourself. Again, do what I say, not do as I do. Now, if you're feeling like your brain is sludge, and we all have those feelings because you haven't necessarily been taking these preventative measures, you've got deadlines. So what do? Well, one of the things I do to write through creative burnout is use my processes and systems and swipe files and formulas. All these kind of things are there to make work easier. So get your brain moving, get your fingers happening, start with your copy deck, put your copy deck together, do easy little admin tasks that start your copywriting project. Put the project name, put the contact name, put the project objectives in, fill out the documentation. Then look at the copy you have to write. Is there a copywriting formula you could use to create some structure? I wrote a landing page on the weekend, and rather than sitting there going, oh, I don't really know where to start, I started with the PAS formula. Pain, agitate, solve, outcome. And when I did that, I didn't have a blank page anymore. I gave myself time limits to work on each section of the formula. So I gave myself 1 Pomodoro, 25 minutes to work on the opening challenge. I gave myself 1 Pomodoro to work on the agitation. I gave myself 2 Pomodoros to structure the solution. And then I found the copy was half done. Then of course I walked away from it for a while and I let my brain start mulling it over. But by this stage, I was hooked into the project. So if you're feeling like your brain is sludge, you know you've got burnout, but you've got deadlines to meet, look at swipe files that you can use to create some structure and beat the blank page. Look at copywriting formulas that you can use to, again, give your copywriting some structure and beat the blank page. And start writing the easy things first. Maybe start with a call to action and outline. Maybe jot down some thoughts for headlines. All these kind of activities get your fingers working, get your brain working, and then all of a sudden you've got a little bit of momentum and the copywriting has started. You need to be able to turn up and do the work when it's required, regardless of how slushy your brain is. And when you use the tools at hand, formulas, swipe files, all these kind of things, copy you've written before, you'll find it a lot easier to get started. And once you get started, it's much easier to continue. But like I mentioned at the start of this, look after yourself as well. Prevent creative burnout by not saying yes to everything. By giving yourself enough time to write and be creative, giving yourself enough downtime to not let your life slip away because of work. There is always more work if your marketing is working. And what else have I got? Understand where your creative hours are. For me, it's the morning. It's when I'm on. If I have to do anything important, I have to do it in the morning. Admin, that can happen in the afternoon because that's often when I've got other things going on. The house is a bit noisier and I'm a bit pooped as I ease into the bath time, bedtime, dinner time routine of my day. So I hope that's been useful. My name is Belinda Weaver. My business is Copyright Matters. I am a copywriter. This is what I do, copywriting, coaching, mentoring, copywriting courses, all to help you write better and run a better business. I'd love to know what you think about this topic. How do you cope with writing deadlines when you're just not feeling it? How do you prevent burnout from happening as a freelancer after you've said yes too many times? I would love to know. I hope you've enjoyed this. There are more videos like this on my Facebook page, Copyright Matters, or over on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Copyright Matters TV. You can check out more tips anytime there or read them on my blog, copyrightmatters.com/blog. I'll see you back here next week.